Hello, one all, my view of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Chapter 109, Culmination. And after this chapter, I think we can finally say that the ghost of O'Clock is in fact All For One in disguise. Who'da thunk it? I mean, seriously, the My Hero Academia Reddit page is blowing up as people are just losing their freaking minds. They would have never seen this coming. But you know what, folks? I freaking saw this coming. I have been saying for a very long time that this was in fact All For One disguise. I mean, this creepy smile was definitely the final nail in the coffin, but I've been saying for a very long time this was in fact All For One disguise, and now it has finally been confirmed. Huzzah! I mean, I think we can all agree there was never any chance of actually being the real O'Clock, because, yeah, he's not acting at all how the real O'Clock would act. I mean, he's helping 6 attack police officers in Koyuchi, which just makes absolutely no sense. There's no way that'd be something that the real O'Clock would have done. And then the other possibility was, okay, you know what, 6 is just out of his goddamn freaking mind, he's insane, and this is an alternate personality. And that definitely made more sense than it being, the actual quirk remnant of O'Clock, but even that theory definitely had some holes in it, because even as 6 just went out of his freaking mind, just even as he went completely and utterly insane, this ghostly figure managed to remain completely and utterly calm and rational, and seemed to have completely separate goals from 6. 6 was focused on, killing Pop so he could become a superhero somehow, some way. That never made a whole lot of sense, because, he's freaking crazy. While the ghost of O'Clock seemed more focused on testing the bomber-type Nomu, testing the limits of what 6 was actually capable of doing. This whole thing has basically been an experiment for him, and it just makes so much more sense if this is All For One. This is all a big test, a big game for All For One, to see what the Nomu are actually capable of doing, see how we can improve the Nomu, because there's definitely some rather significant differences from the Nomu we see in this chapter and the Nomu we see even in the beginning of the main series. I mean, Vigilantes gives us 2 separate types of Nomu. First off, we have the Anons, who seem to be completely and utterly brainless and need to be brainwashed and controlled by 6. And then we have 6 himself, who seems, much more in control of his own actions, but much harder to, operate, to direct. I mean, even now, All For One is basically disguising himself as O'Clock to try and convince 6 to go down a certain path, and it's not going all that well. He's not really able to guide 6 all that much, and he's basically completely given up, realized, okay, you know what, 6 is probably going to die here, but let's just see what he's capable of. Let's just see what happens when he pushes his limits and goes freaking plus ultra, baby! I love it. I freaking love it. But anyway, as I was saying, the Nomu we see in the start of the main series, they're less brainless than the Anons. They seem to be capable of some function without, direct orders, at least direct orders through electromagnetic signals, but they are much more obedient than 6 is, which I guess is the compromise All For One came up with, creating Nomu that are somewhat intelligent, but at the same time completely and utterly obedient to him, to his words, to his voice. It makes a certain amount of sense, I think. So yeah, basically this whole thing is a big game for All For One, just to see what happens and to really test out the limits of the Nomu, test out the limits of how exactly he can control someone from a distance, control someone through their quirk, because that's a whole other question. How exactly is All For One appearing in 6's head as O'Clock? I mean, it's, the whole quirk vestige thing is very well established in the main series, but it shouldn't really be capable of doing it to this degree, but I guess if anyone is capable of doing it, it would be All For One. I mean, he's been studying quirks and quirk remnants for literal centuries, so if there's anyone in the world who's capable of figuring out, it would be him. Curious, very curious. But anyway, back to the start of this chapter, 6 goes through another transformation as he gains another set of arms. This is seriously becoming DBZ. This is seriously becoming DBZ. But anyway, the big plan for all these extra arms are to create grenades that he can throw in the air and then throw at the ground, so he's forcing Koichi to go into the air where there are bombs already waiting for him, which, is a very good plan, basically forcing Koichi to walk right into a trap, even though he knew the trap was there. And because Koichi's quirk works by creating barriers, he's not really able to fully negate the blast. He's still feeling the impact on his body, and it's sending him flying, even though he's able to escape most of the damage. And what's more, he does have a limit. There's only so many shots he can put out at one point before he needs to rest, before he needs to recharge. And as a result, he falls right out of the sky into a very convenient pile of trash. Huzzah! Seriously, the amount of trash in Japan in this series is absolutely freaking ridiculous. I mean, it's piled sky high again and again, exactly where Koichi needs it to be. I love it, I freaking love it. But anyway, then we flash back to the hospital, and for once, the police officers aren't being useless. Yay! As they're basically guiding the bomber types into nets, which hopefully they can't escape from. And weirdly enough, it seems like Soga's gang is also helping with this, as, they have a shield in their hands, so are they part of the bomb dispersal unit here now? I mean, it seems very, very unlikely, but I can't think of any other reason why the police officers would give them a shield like that. Curious, very, very curious. But either way, thankfully they managed to round up all the bomber types just in the nick of time as they all start going crazy as soon as they're all wrapped up. Because 6 is calling them, Papa 6 is calling them, and this is rather curious. I mean, all the bombers are coming after Koichi at once here, and this does lead to a rather interesting question. Is this all the bomber types? Are all the bomber type Nomos converging on Koichi's exact location at this exact moment? Because these ones who are tied up should have realized they can't actually escape, so it feels weird they would have tried. It makes me think that, they were all called regardless of their current situation, which could result in Ingenium, Best Genius, Edgeshot, and Aizawa all following the bomber types to Koichi and coming to lend him a helping hand, which... Oh, I love that. I freaking love it. I mean, yes, I feel like this has to be a fight Koichi needs to win on his own, but at the very least, Aizawa showing up would be so freaking amazing. Lending helping hand, managing to weaken 6's healing properties so that Koichi can, destroy his legs or knock him out or do something. And right now Koichi could really, really use the backup because he's having a very hard time dealing with all these moving targets, especially when they move so fast he can actually hit them all that accurately, and they are being perfectly coordinated by 6, even as he's melting his own brain, which... Yeah, that might be the end of the fight. That actually might be how this fight ends. 6 just goes so far past his limits that he literally melts his brain and dies, or at least becomes comatose, brain dead, something like that. Oh, that'd be a very, very Koichi way to end this fight. His opponent basically just got so angry he literally died of anger. Oh, I love that. I freaking love it. Though, admittedly, that would be a bit unsatisfying, but I'm just really not sure how else this fight could go because, Koichi's made it very clear he's not actually willing, not capable of finishing off 6, of killing him because of his promise to Pop, so... what else can he really do here? I mean, yeah, there are still the pro heroes who can show up and finish off 6 themselves, but that would just feel so very, very unsatisfying after this long, long battle he's had against 6, so what else could really happen? I mean, I feel like somehow, some way, next chapter, Koichi's gonna find some method for managing to take out the bomber types, some long-range shot or some wider-range shot that, is able to deal with all of them at once, maybe. And then in frustration, 6 will basically decide, okay, this is it, I'm done. I'm going to self-destruct and take Koichi with me. That's the best I can think of, the best way I can think of 6 trying to end this fight. And then maybe Ingenium or Aizawa show up and, save him in the nick of time. Oh, I love that. I freaking love that. And really, I just don't know what else to expect from this fight. I mean, I really thought, we were in the final minutes of it after last chapter, but, now we bring in the bomber types, and it's just like a whole new aspect to this battle. It just feels like it's been going on for so long. It needs to have a satisfying ending. I'm just not really sure what that ending's gonna be, but please let me know anything else down below. What'll be the big satisfying ending of this fight? How will Koichi beat 6? Will they kill him? Will the hero save the day? Will 6 decide self-destruct because he's so angry? Or will he get so angry that he literally fries his own brain? And what do you think about All For One secretly being the ghost of O'Clock? I mean, like I said, I've been theorizing this for a very, very long time, but it's so satisfying to see that creepy, creepy smile and finally confirm it. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. What's his big plan for 6? What exactly was the point of all this experimenting? What exactly is going to lead him to changing with a newer Nomu we see in the main series? And just, let me know all down below. Be sure to like and subscribe, see you next video. And until then... peace!